Hi, Mickey from Flipping Spain here. Okay, today is the day where we put together all these individual ways of assessing a property into one and look at one property from beginning to end. So we start with looking at the listing and doing some preliminary online research. Decide if it's worth going to see. There's no big deal breakers, super obvious. Next, we're going to assess the neighborhood, which means pretty much walking around the block, seeing what's there, getting the vibe. Then we're going to assess the building itself. We can sort of do this at the same time by combining just what we see in the area and then what we see on the listing. And then we'll do the last little bit of that in step 4, which is where we actually go to the property and see the unit, and then we can see the staircase and the inside bits of the building as well. Then the most important thing is if we like it and it looks good, then we're going to have to run the numbers. So let's take this property from the street to the spreadsheet and see what kind of deal it is. All right, first step, we're going to look at the listing online. This one is interesting because you can see it's listed once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, all by different agents and interestingly by the private seller. And it's listed anywhere from $89,000 to $93,000. So what this tells me is that the seller really wants to get rid of it, and there is some flexibility in the price, which when we get to our spreadsheet, you will see is important. Let's look at the listing by the owner himself first. You can see straight away it faces this giant construction project, so that's something we need to get information on. You can see the hallway, living room. This is the kitchen, so it has no kitchen. 1 bedroom, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. Cool old-fashioned doors, cool tile floor, and that's it. Let's just compare, because this one seems to have 20 photos. Again, we see the construction site. This is one of those photos I was talking about where they've shot the little balcony area, but they've shot it down so you don't see the construction across the way. Not very subtle. After walking through it, we'll see what this door leading from this area means in terms of the layout of the bedrooms, but for right now, we can't really tell. We can just see that there are a good amount of windows, nice floors, lots of very not so great photos, which does tell us it's a bit of a tight space. You know, the bath isn't the most beautiful thing, but it looks like it's clean and in good shape. So that's one thing we wouldn't have to fix right away. So here they're showing us these multiple locks, because squatting is a big thing in Spain, as I've learned. So they always talk to you about the quality of the front door. And then here's a map of where it's located. And on that note, let's go ahead and look at the Google map. So right here, we can see that it's fairly central in the city. So having been here long enough now, I've realized that this is considered the center, this yellowy bit here, and then also this. This is what feels like the center to me. Lots of pedestrian streets, lots of shops. And then the old town is just here. So it's super convenient to all the things you would need to do downtown. So great location. Let's zoom in and see what's in the immediate area. So we've got a sports center. I always like to search for cafes. Lots of cafes. Let's turn on the satellite so we can get a sense of the greenery. So it's like there's a little park. And it's close to the Plaza de Espelon and the Old Town, which is where a lot of events happen and just a fun area to hang out in. So first impressions are property needs work, but it looks in decent shape. The location looks really promising, and we know there's some flexibility in negotiating price. So these are all good things. So I say, yes, let's go see it. So we'll combine the assessing the building with assessing the unit because I did it all in one trip and it'll be a little easier, trying not to make this video too long for you. The first thing I did was walk around the whole block where the building is located. You can see some shots here of the streetscapes. It's very nice. We've got everything we need in the area. We've got pharmacy, we've got dentist. You can see lots of different shops. If you want to go get your eyebrows tweezed, you can do that. There are a couple of vacant commercial spaces, which is pretty common, and that's something I watch when I think about property values long term. Also, some really cool things. Did not expect to see an LGBT center. This is super cool that this is right in this area. Got some cool looking bars. There are a few of these gambling spots, which so far I've noticed them a lot, but I haven't noticed that they have a negative impact on the area. Like there aren't people hanging out front, people aren't getting drunk and boisterous. So I'm kind of neutral on them at the moment. Also, there's a huge grocery store back behind it, and then also near tons of little fruit and veg shops. Loving the area. It's a great location and really happy with the sort of businesses that are in the area. Also looking at the other buildings, we can see that there are some very nice apartments in the area. There are definitely some newer buildings, and there's newer ones going up right across the street. There's two aspects to that. We talked about this in the other video. One, it could make our building feel more outdated. Actually, all these new builds and everything should just raise the property values. So even if ours comes in at the low end of the neighborhood, that will still go up, and there will always be a market for well-priced things in a really good neighborhood. Okay, so let's look at the unit itself. We've got a cool entryway with some character tiles. It's nice and clean. We can see the electric here. It's not the most updated. Having it sitting out here in the lobby isn't the most attractive thing. We have to go up 2 flights of stairs, and they are fairly narrow. So now I'm thinking about how do we get our materials and furniture and all that stuff up here. Here we have the kitchen, which, as we said, is completely bare, so you can just start from scratch. It does have a curvy wall, which presents some design challenges. Then behind that is our bathroom, which, again, while dated, is actually kind of cute and very functional and in very good shape. So that's something we don't have to do right away. And then we go down the hallway and we see the 3 bedrooms, which are really 1 bedroom to the left, 1 bedroom straight ahead, and then the 3rd bedroom accessed through the 2nd bedroom. Every bedroom has windows. The 3rd one, just 1, but that's okay. That could be like an office space. The problem here is the access of the 3rd bedroom through the 2nd one. So that's where we're going to have to look at the floor plan and think about, are there ways that we could rejig this to keep it as a true 3-bedroom? Because while the price is reasonable for the neighborhood, it is priced and listed as a 3-bedroom, and it really isn't. So then we have to ask ourselves, do we keep it a 3-bedroom? Is there a way to make that happen? Or do we make it a really premium 2-bed, 2-bath? Because I think you're going to have to add at least a half bath in order to bump up the rent or the sales price at the other end. So here are some possibilities. This is the problem. We have these 3 bedrooms, and this bedroom is captured behind this one. So this is quite a long space, because the idea was if we could put a door here that kind of comes around, then we could get into this one from some sort of hallway. But that's going to make this already small bedroom much smaller. Probably the only way we could do it, the idea was we could take out this wall and take out these walls and make this all an open plan kitchen and living room, which is a lot of space. It's half the apartment. So if we were to take out these walls and then move the kitchen over to here perhaps, and keep this all open, then we could have a doorway here and make this a bedroom/office. Or we could make it a bathroom. Then we would have some room here to extend this bedroom to maybe here, make it an odd shape, and then we could have a hallway to this bedroom here, or something like that. Maybe this bedroom moves over here, and then we do an ensuite here and an entry here. So there are some options. Or I think it's more practical to just make it a big 2-bedroom. Because this is offset, it makes it kind of awkward. But you could do this and part of this and have a giant bedroom with windows on both sides and then a bath in here. And then you could have this be another big room using the hall bath. So it wouldn't be 2 en-suites. There's probably a way to do it. But again, as I'm talking, I'm realizing this is, it's challenging. And whenever it's challenging, then it makes the deal less appealing. So I think then the next thing we have to do is look at the spreadsheet, look at the numbers, and get a sense of whether it's worth it. Because the ideas that I'm suggesting are all going to take a ton of extra work, so they're going to have a ton of extra cost, and that's not preference in this scenario. So it always comes down to the numbers at the end of the day. So here I've got them in here. So now it's listed at 89. you'll see that I put a purchase price of $70,000, and that is because of the flip numbers I ran. So we're going to go through our holding costs. We've got our $35 a month comunidad or HOA fee. Our taxes, I've dropped the taxes a lot since you've seen the spreadsheet because I've now learned what they actually are here. So they're a lot lower, which is great. And then because we're going to do a fairly extensive reno, I've made this maintenance reserves super minimal. So our cost per month, once we own it and it's all fixed up, should be around 160 euros. Okay, so if we look at a long-term monthly rental, we've got a couple of options. If it's a 2-bedroom and we rent it for $350 per room, that's $700 a month, which is not really a great price given the amount of money we're going to put into it. I think if you made it a really nice 2-bedroom, 1.5 to 2 baths, you could charge $850, which is high for a 2-bedroom, but for this location and for the level of quality that we're going to put into it and the niceness of the decor, I think you can get away from it. So that's a nice, almost 700 euro a month cash flow, which I can definitely live with. That's simply long-term. So the return on that, assuming we spend this much, which is quite low, is 8%. So not fantastic, but certainly good enough. If we look at it doing it as a flip, this is $77,000 is our $70,000 purchase price plus about 10% in fees. Then $30,000 for a renovation, which I've actually been quoted $35 to $40 for just a basic renovation, adding heat, doing electricity, rejigging the living room, and doing the kitchen. So that actually needs to go up higher. So let's do $40,000. So then we're in at 117, which takes our rental return back. However, I think we could resell it for 150. Now, basing that on, we're just going to kind of go up a little bit, see what's in the area. All these things that are priced quite low are not super, they're not updated. They're kind of your bog standard, heavy furniture, ugly floors. I mean, that's got nice paint and details in there, but they're not looking the way ours will look when we list it. So let's get up into the range. And this is all just on this street or this area. So here we have a 3-bedroom. It's dropped in price. It's a little bit bigger, has a much nicer bathroom. Okay, so this is about the same size. Again, not super updated, it does have a balcony and lots of light because it's on a high floor. This is interior, but it's been updated. More modern flooring, nicer decor. These are higher floors with elevators, and we're not seeing anything without an elevator in this price range. So that is something we really have to consider. Here we go. This is a 4-bedroom, much bigger, 2nd floor without a lift. Also updated-ish. Flooring and heating have been done. This is a 2-bed for $163,000. Similar size, 1st floor with a lift. Very nicely updated, has a terrace. So funnily enough, I'm not being super inspired that this thing is going to sell for what we want it to sell for. Even though overall in the city, I think the one thing you can count on is that selling a brand spanking newly renovated 2-bed to 3-bed in this area, there's not a lot that compares with it. Things are more expensive, but they're less updated. Things are bigger, but again, they're less updated. So I think it would appeal, and it's still going to be one of the lowest priced things on the market. So we'll be conservative and say, let's even drop it down to 145. I feel like there's so few things in that price range that's reasonable. So then we have a profit of 28,000, take away our 25% tax, and we're coming back with a cash on cash return of 18%, which is plenty healthy. If we can get that extra 5,000, then we're looking at $33,000 profit, take away our tax, and we're coming in at 20%, which I am more than happy with. Now there might be the opportunity to get some subsidies. Since it's an older building, there might be the opportunity to work with different contractors. This guy that I talked with is He's a big company, everybody recommends him, he's got plenty of business, he can charge what he wants. I'm used to managing my own projects. It's just with the language barrier, it's difficult to just hire trades in to do this, this, and this. And it can be easier just to have someone who knows how to navigate the permitting process or whatever government requirements there are. Future projects, hopefully I'll be able to do more of that myself and improve the margins. But still, this is looking pretty good as a flip. It looks like it has good potential for a long-term rental just because it's in such a great area. And that's not likely to change in the near future. And prices, as we know, just go up and up and up over the long haul. All right, so that is our nuts to bolt analysis of this property. It looks good. It doesn't look fantastic. So I've actually seen 3 properties now that I am really interested in, and they're a nice mix because we've got one that's ready to rent, needs hardly any work at all. We've got one that we just looked at that needs some work. Could get away with doing a minimum, or you could really bump it up and make it a really nice flip. And then we've got one that the hard work's been done, but it's just a really unique scenario because it's one flat, but it actually functions as 2. So 2 for the price for 1. So we'll look at all 3 of those side by side, and you guys can help me decide which one I should put an offer in on. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.